All of you get my voice on the screen. Those who are attending in online, guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on the screen. Those who are attending in online, guys. Guys, once again, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on the screen. Those are attending in online, please confirm to me, guys. All of you get my voice on the screen clearly. Right. Good afternoon, guys. And check it what we completed in the last session. What exactly the content here we understand there in the last session. So I think so in the last class yesterday, just we completed Java history, the total content we completed there, Java history. All right, sir. All of you are accessing this document. All of you are getting the document. Okay. Classroom notes is very, very important. Even real I'm telling there, even in my previous batches also, this much of notes I have not typed, but you are getting this advantage. Now try to utilize this. Okay. Right, guys. Now, right, today we are going to understand a new topic. The new topic will be differences between Java and others. Java and others. Here, others in the sense what they C and C++. C and C++. Observe carefully, guys. All right, sir. Now, nearly 9 differences here I am going to discuss with you. All these 9 differences are important for us. Why I'm taking this particular topic, differences between Java and others. Why this topic here I have taken? What are the reasons for it? If we observe these, reasons are very clear. Two reasons why I've taken this particular topic now. Reason number one, when you go for some interviews, meanwhile, of course, after completion of these courses, you may go for interview. There you may have some awareness on Java. You may give answers for any type of question to the interviewer. That's okay. But meanwhile, if you go for any interview, interviewer may see your resume. In our resume, interviewer may identify the technologies like skill set. What are the skill sets used to specify in our resume in general? With or without knowing all the technologies, in general, we used to say C, C++, Core Java, Advanced Java, Hibernate, Spring Boot, microservices, web services, Python, .NET, whatever the names of the technologies we know, we used to specify all these names. Am I right or not? Right, it's not the mistake actually. So we thought of it, we want to see some strongness in our resume. The sound resume we want to prepare. That soundness we are going to keep in the form of skill set. Too many number of skill sets that we are providing there. So when interviewer sees the total, see the total technology set, immediately interviewer is having a question. The first three technologies in general, everybody, they used to say is what? C, C++, Java. Then immediately, interviewer is going to ask the question, tell me the differences between C, C++, Java. If that interviewer is a Java developer in the respective company, directly we'll ask the question, already you have C and C++, then what is the requirement to go for Java? Already we have C and C++, then what is the requirement to go for Java? What is the need of Java? This question you are able to get in general. Got my point or not? Okay. So where we have to open our mouth, we have to give some differences at least. We need to understand some advantages of Java over the C and C++. That points here we have to understand. Because of that reason, we are discussing about this particular topic. This is reason number one. Reason number two. In general, if we inquire to the people in outside, if we inquire about it, then I want to know Java programming language, what I require prerequisite. Then immediately people are saying to you, first to learn C++, then come for Java. Right. Whenever we are trying to learn C++, if we ask to do some other people, what I have to learn as a prerequisite for C++, people are saying to you, learn C programming language first, then go for C++. That means they are providing some chain of technologies. They're giving what their chain of technologies. Understand, guys? They're giving what their chain of technologies. But here itself, I'm telling to you clearly, to learn core Java, no prerequisite is required. Just if you know computer, CPU, monitor, switch on, switch off, keyboard, mouse, finish. You are eligible to learn core Java. From that point onwards, I will take care. Then how to inject Java to you, then I will take care about it. No need to think much about it. This is a point I'm telling to you now. So to say this particular one, Java is totally different. No relation between C, C++ and Java. Java is totally different. To say this particular point, now today I'm taking this particular topic. Yesterday given one point there. Already I was proved it. I have proven it. Software industry is an open platform for everybody. No background restrictions. Even degree people also can survive in software industry. You're not aware about it. One point I'm telling you, at present in Amirpet, training institutes, one repeated trainer, he is taking Java classes, but he came from biology background. Biology background. That person is creating number of software engineers. See, the people, those who are coming from different domains, they are teaching Java and they are making number of software engineers. Then what is the problem to you to survive in software industry? Understand it. So no, for software industry, no such kind of restrictions. If any company has some restrictions, no, in the job description they will say only BTech people or only this year passed out. Like this, they used to say some conditions there. But majority of the companies they forgotten about students' background and all. Nowadays, degree students also they are getting jobs in the companies. Listen, what I'm telling you now. Okay, right, sir. But to come out from the opinion to learn Java, we need this much of prerequisite. Then to come out from all these things, not only that. Sir, myself is from civil background in BTech, mechanical background in BTech, chemical background in BTech. No, all these things up to your college only. Just leave it. Now, if you know Java, you're having opportunity in the companies. If you don't know Java, then you're not having any opportunity in the companies. Whatever it may be, whatever the background of you, that doesn't matter for the companies nowadays. If any some companies are available, they're more strict, definitely they will check this kind of points, no, but up to that it's okay. But nowadays maximum number of companies are not thinking about this kind of issue, no. Guys, all of you are getting clarity or not? Leave this one here. So to answer for all these things, today I'm taking this particular topic to you. Now try to recognize it, what I'm telling to you now. So next one is, now come for this particular point here. Now point number one. Point number one. First difference I'm telling to you, C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is a dynamic programming language. C and C++ are static programming languages, but Java is what there. Java is a dynamic programming language. Is that all of you get me point or not? C and C++ are what there static programming languages, but Java is what there a dynamic programming language. Right. That's okay. Fine. Okay. Fine. Now here we have to understand how C and C++ are static programming languages and why Java is a dynamic programming language. Here we have to understand this point clearly. So before come for this point, I want to explain one more point. Now try to understand it. I'll give one simple diagrammatic representation. Now try to understand it. Right, sir. What is the point here? I'm telling to you. Now try to recognize this. Say for example, I prepared a program, C program I prepared. C program in the sense extension of the file is what? .c. Extension of the file is what there? .c. Now I'm asking one question there. I have written a program. Inside this program, number of instructions I have written. This is C program. By using C programming language, I prepared this program. Okay. Observe this clearly. This program was written by developer or not? C programmer has written this program or not? How he written that C program? No, in his understandable language. Developer understandable programming language C only. Syntaxes and everything is C only. But that C programming language is understandable to the users, developers. That developer understandable language is what their high level language. The developer understandable language is what their high level language. Got my point or not? Right, sir. Developer has written this program in high level language. Any examples, sir, for high level language? No. Yes, I'm giving some examples. See, this is int I is equal to 10 semicolon. High level representation. Int integer I is a variable, is equal to is an operator, 10 is a constant, semicolon is what? Terminator. For everyone, meaning is available or not? The developer can understand that meaning or not? That's why this is what their high level language. Clear? Now tell me why you are written this program there. Why we are written these programs, sir? Now tell me the main purpose of writing this program to get outputs or not? The main intention of writing program is what there to get some outputs or not? Right, sir. Understand my point here. To generate what there some outputs here we have written this program. Okay, output for the sake of results, for the sake of getting output only we have written this program. But if you want to get outputs from this program, if you want to get outputs from this program, we have to execute this program. If we want to get output from this program, first we have to execute this program. Without processing the program, how we are able to get output? Understand, guess what I'm telling you? So we have to execute our program or not? Right now, to execute our program, we need to use a mission. To execute our program here, we have to use what there? A mission. What is that mission here? I'm telling there that mission, for the sake of C, that mission is called as C engine. C engine is a mission. It is executing our program. Guys, all of you are following my point now? The C engine is performing what their execution. C engine is performing what their execution. Observe carefully what I am telling you now. C engine is performing what their execution. So this is exactly the meaning of like what their execution. Observe carefully. Now here I want to get like what there some outputs. Right, sir. Now this is the point here we have to understand clearly. Next one is understand this point now. After understanding this, so whenever we are given program to the C engine will execute that program, then it able to provide some outputs. C engine is able to provide some outputs. Clear? Let's understand one more point actually. C engine is able to understand low level language code. Low level language code. It's not understanding high level code. First of all, C engine is not a human being. C engine is a mission. That mission is able to understand only mission level code, mission language code. That mission language code is what their low level code. Mission language code is what their low level code. Sir, any example for low level code? High level code example I've given. Int I is equal to 10 now. Low level code example I'm telling there, it will be like what there in the form of what there no zeros and ones. Observe carefully in the form of zeros and ones. So this is exactly the meaning of what the low level code now. Now observe carefully here. There is a problem now. What's the problem here? Developer has written the program in a high level, but C engine requires the program in what there low level. But so incompatibility is available. If you give this high level code to the C engine, how C engine can execute this program now? Is it possible to execute this program by C engine? C engine is unable to execute this program or not? Okay. In two ways it is possible. What are the two ways? No. Point number one. Either we have to write the program in low level language directly, or you have to make the C engine to understand high level language. But anyway, both are not possible. Missions can understand mission level language only. Developers can write the program in high level language only. No changes on their approaches. No changes on what their approaches. Got my point or not? Right. Listen carefully. Right. But still, if we want to execute our program, then what we have to do now? There we have to think. Is there any chance to convert the program from high level representation to low level representation? Now our problem will be solved. If it is possible to convert the data from high level representation to low level representation, then our problem will be solved. Right, sir. In outside, the type of process is available. We can convert the data from, we can translate the program from high level representation to low level representation. That is possible, that we can do, that we can achieve. It is possible to transfer the code. It is possible to translate the code from high level representation to low level representation. All of you guys observe carefully. Right. Here I'm going to use some process. Then okay, then what it is going to be happen, guys? Now tell me, right? Whatever the program here we are given to this translation, this is called as what the translation process, high level to low level translation. If we give the source program to this translation, what this translation is able to do now, it able to convert the program from high level to low level. That low level program will be provided in a separate file. The low level program will be provided in a separate file. In the case of C, that file is called as .exe file. In the case of E, that file is called as what there .exe file. Then here, whenever we are getting this .exe file, here automatically we can provide the .exe file to what there C engine. That C engine will execute our program and finally generating some output here. All of you guys observe carefully. Here, understand my point here. Here, what we required here one process here we have done to perform translating our code from high level code to low level code here. Now understand this high level code, that means this high level code, that means high level code is a normal program, but low level code is available in the form of what there, in the form of like what there, zeros and ones only, low level code. Observe carefully. Like this. Now this .exe file is existed. All of you are getting clarity on this point, no? Now understand this point here. Now here we are using one translation mechanism or not? This translation mechanism is converting our code from high level to low level. So this is exactly what their low level code. This is what exactly low level code. Low level language code. Okay. What exactly the translation here we have done to convert the program from high level to low level, the translation mechanism is called as what there? Compilation. The translation is called as what there? Compilation. Guys, I'm asking one question to all of you, now try to answer for it. what exactly the job of the compilation now? What is the job of the compilation here? As per the diagram, it able to transfer code from high level representation to low level representation. To translate the code from high level representation to low level representation, we have to use what there? Compilation. Got my point or not? Right. One more point I'm telling to you, try to understand this clearly. Another point I'm telling to you, try to understand it now. What is this another point here? Listen carefully, guys. Who has written the C program now? Who has written the C program? Developer, programmer, human being or not? What is the fundamental right for a human being? Committing the mistakes. Committing the mistakes is a fundamental right for what their human being. Am I right or not? So definitely we may have a number of mistakes in our program. Okay, having mistakes in our program is not the issue. But without checking whether our program is having mistakes or not, without checking that executing the program is the actual problem. The actual thing is what the actual problem is what there. Without checking whether our program is having mistakes or not, without checking that executing program is the actual mistake. No. So before executing our program, first we have to check whether our program is having any mistakes or not. Developers are providing any mistakes or not. We have to check or not. Again, the checking process could be done by whom? Compilation. So for compilation, two responsibilities are available. What are the two responsibilities for compilation here? No, come on, guys. Now tell me, what are the two responsibilities for compilation here? No, then translating code from high level representation to high level language to what that one? Low level language. This is one responsibility. And the second responsibility is what there? Error checking. What is the second responsibility? No, error checking. These are the two things for what there? Compilation. All of you get my point? No, they are the two things for what there? Compilation. Observe carefully. Right. So finally, what exactly the requirement to go for compilation? What is the need of execution? The 2 points here we understood. Am I right or not? Okay. Now I'm giving two more statements. No, try to understand the statements here. The time when we perform compilation, the time when we perform compilation is called as compilation time. The time when we perform compilation is called as what there? Compilation time. Compilation time is also be called as what there? Static time. Compilation time is also be called as what there? Static time. Yes, all of you are getting clarity? What is the mean? What exactly the purpose of the compilation? No, two purposes. One is what there? Translating our program from high level language to low level language. What is the purpose of translation? No, our C engine will understand, will execute only low level language. That's why we are translating that. Second point is what there? Error checking, developers mistakes. We have to correct developers mistakes. For the sake of that, here we have to use what there? Compilation. Recognize my point. Okay, now some two terminologies I'm providing here. The time when we compile the program, the time is called as what there? Compilation time. Other than that, another meaning is, another statement is what there, another name is what there? Static time. Static time. Got my point or not? Okay. Again, listen carefully. The time when we execute the program, the time when we execute the program is called as execution time. The time when we execute the program is called as what their? Execution time. Or other name is available, that is what their? Runtime. Or what is that? No, runtime. Another name is available, or dynamic time. Or what their? Dynamic time. These many names are available. Right, sir. Compilation time is also be called as what their? Static time. Execution time is also be called as what their? Dynamic time. Yes, sir. All of you are getting it or not? Right, sir. One more small point here itself I want to confirm to me. Now try to understand it clearly. For example, int I is equal to 10, I provided semicolon. Tell me, sir. I is a variable of type is what there? Int. Okay, here data is what there? 10. Am I right or not? into data type. I is a variable and 10 is what their value. So this 10 value will be stored inside the I variable or not? That I variable must be stored in the memory or not? I variable value, 10 value finally must be stored in a memory or not? Now tell me, memory must be required for storing that integer data or not? So in the case of C programming language, then what happened? I is a variable here. For that variable, what we are able to have there, this is like memory. Inside this memory, data 10 value will be stored. Data 10 value will be stored. So it means that memory must be allocated for the variables in programming languages. Am I right or not? Memory must be allocated for the variables in programming languages. But how much memory? How much memory must be allocated for the variables? No. What is the size of the memory we must allocate for the variables? No. That is depending on the data types. That is depending on what their data types. For int, 2 bytes of memory. For integer, how much memory you know? 2 bytes of memory. Memory must be allocated for I variable or not. On the basis of the data type int, memory must be allocated or not. That is what their 2 bytes of memory will be allocated. Guys, all of you are getting clarity on these points now? Right, sir. That's okay. 2 bytes of memory is allocated for I variable, right, in the memory. So memory allocation is required. Memory allocation is required. Got my point or not? Okay. Listen, one more point I'm telling to you. If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data, byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, character. These are what their primitive data types. For these primitive data, if memory is allocated at a compilation time, if a memory is allocated for the primitive data types at a compilation time, then that programming language is called as static programming language. Come again? What is the meaning of static programming language? If any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data at a compilation time. Get my point or not? For any primitive data types, sorry, for any programming language allows memory allocation for the primitive data at a compilation time, then that programming language is called as static programming language. In other words, I'm telling one more point here. Try to understand it now. If the memory allocation is provided at compilation time, then the type of memory allocation is called as static memory allocation. If the memory allocation is provided at compilation time, then that memory allocation is what there? Static memory allocation. If any programming language is following static memory allocation, then that programming language is called as what there? Static programming language. Got my point or not? Similarly, if the memory allocation is going on at a runtime, if the memory allocation is performed, memory allocation is provided at runtime, then that type of memory allocation is called as dynamic memory allocation. If any programming language is following dynamic memory allocation, then that programming language is what there? Dynamic programming language. Got my point or not? Examples for static programming language is a C and a C++. Examples for static programming language is what there? C and C++. Examples for dynamic programming language is what there? Java, Python, .NET, a number of technologies are available. Examples for static programming language is what there? C and C++. Examples for dynamic programming language is what there? Java and Python and all. So many examples are available. Now we cleared about our point here. What's the point here we are discussing there? Tell me, what's the title here we are discussing there? C and C++ are what? Static programming languages. But Java is what? A dynamic programming language. Now we had clarity about this point or not? Now understand it. I want to give some description here. Now try to understand it. No. If any programming language, if any programming language follows, static memory allocation, that is the memory allocation for the primitive data memory allocation for the primitive data at a compilation time. At compilation time, then that programming language is called as static programming language. Guys, it itself the total meaning I've given. Now try to we have to recognize these points clearly. If any programming language follows static memory allocation, that is the memory allocation for the primitive data types, for the primitive data or data types, no problem, both are same at a compilation time, then the programming language is called static programming language. Right, sir. Examples for static programming languages are what there? C and C++. For your clarity, I'm telling to you, understand it. In C and C++ applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types, at a compilation time only, not at a runtime. That's the clarity I'm telling here. In C and C++ applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at a compilation time only, not at a runtime. Got my point or not? Okay, nice. Next one is other point here I'm telling you. Try to understand this clearly. If any programming language, follows dynamic memory allocation, that is the memory allocation, that is a memory allocation for the primitive data at a runtime, at runtime, not at a compilation time, at runtime, not at a compilation time, not at a compilation time. Then that programming language, is called as dynamic programming language. That programming language is called as what there? Dynamic programming language. Is called dynamic programming language. Right, sir. Example I'm telling to you, Java, Python, and so on. So many examples are available. Yes, sir. Clear cut information or not? So one point I'm telling to you, in Java, this is our required point. In Java applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types. At what time, at a runtime only, not at a compilation time. Right, sir. If any programming language follows memory allocation, if any programming language follows dynamic memory allocation, that is the memory allocation for the primitive data at a runtime, not at compilation time, then that programming language is called as what there? Dynamic programming language. Example is Java and Python. In Java applications, memory will be allocated for the primitive data types at a runtime only, not at a compilation time here. Right, sir? Then the content is very much clear. Now, here, I want to give this diagram in the document just for the sake of your reference. We can use this diagram clearly. Okay, fine, good, nice. So this is about our static memory allocation, and what next one, dynamic memory allocation. Yes, sir. Clear or not? Okay, fine. This is the very first difference. If any of your friends or if anybody else in outside, if they're asking to you, tell me what is the first difference between Java and C, C++? If they're asking this question there, what's your response there? What is the first point here? C and C++ are what? Static programming languages, but Java is what? Dynamic programming language. How can you say C and C++ are static? No. How can you say C and C++ are static? No. Memory allocation for the data in C and C++ is at what time? Compilation time. But in the case of Java, at what time? Runtime, dynamic time. What is compilation time? The time when we perform compilation. What is runtime? The time when we execute our program. At compilation time, if we provide memory allocation, it is called as what there? Static memory allocation. At runtime, if we perform memory allocation, it is called as what there? Dynamic memory allocation. C and C++ are following what memory allocation? Static memory allocation. Java is following which memory allocation? Dynamic memory allocation. Clear or not? Right. You have to remember all these points here. Every point here we have to remember them. Right. So that's okay. Fine. Now let's move on to the concept here. Next one here. The second difference I'm telling here. First difference is okay, clear. Now the second difference here I'm telling to you. Observe carefully. Difference number two. Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Guys, all of you are getting clarity on this? Preprocessor is required in C and C++, but preprocessor is not required in Java. Yes, sir. All of you are getting clarity on this or not? Okay. Now let's see this. First of all, before understanding preprocessor is required or not required in C, C++, Java, before that, first of all, tell me what is preprocessor? What is the need of the preprocessor in Java applications? That point here we have to understand. After that, we will go for like what there. After that, we are going to understand why it is required in C, C++ and why it is not required in Java. First, understand what is preprocessor. What is the job of this preprocessor that we have to understand. Yes, sir. All of you are following the points or not? So don't have any diversions here. Sit clearly and try to listen the points what I am telling to you. Easily you are going to understand each and every point. Okay, fine. Now, first of all, I want to give one diagram here. Now try to understand this diagram. Listen, all of you listen carefully. Listen carefully. I've taken a program, C program only. The program here I've taken. This is what their C program .c file. Okay. Whenever we have taken this file now, here we have to perform compilation or not. When .c file is available, definitely we have to perform what their compilation. So I want to perform compilation. Okay, this is like what I'm telling to you, compilation. Right, sir. Next one is when we perform compilation on C program. Here, what we are able to get there? What files here we are getting, sir? Now tell me. Come on, what files here we are getting there? Dot exe files. Here we are getting or not? Dot exe files are generated. When we are getting dot exe file, there we have to execute our program or not? There we have to go for like what there? Execution. Now here we have to perform like what there? Execution. When we execute this program, there we are able to get like what there? Some outputs. Here we are getting what there? Some results, some outputs here we are getting. What I prepared previously, the same thing here I provided. Some outputs here we are getting. Okay. This is overall processor. Clear. Now here, what I want to specify there, compilation in the sense, don't think about it, that overall compilation is performed by only compiler. Compilation is performed by only compiler. No, not like this. Compilation is a work, is a process. The total compilation would be performed by 4 missions. 4 missions effort is a compilation, not like only one mission effort. What are the 4 missions now? First one is preprocessor. First one is what there? Preprocessor. Second one is what there? Compiler. Next one is assembler. Next one is what there? Assembler. Next one is loader link editor. Loader link editor. These four missions of work is nothing but what their compilation. Don't say only compiler can do this total compilation. Compilation could be done by four missions effort. Observe carefully. First preprocessor, next compilation, after that only assembler, next loader link editor. Right, sir. This is one process here we can understand. Anyway, my required point is completed here. Preprocessor is the first phase in compilation. Preprocessor is what their first phase in a compilation. That point we got clarity. Am I right or not? Okay, fine. Anyway, here we have the discussion. That's why I want to go for what their compiler also. Compiler also here I want to check what exactly this compiler here. Compiler has now 6 number of phases. Compiler has what there 6 number of phases. What are the 6 number of phases inside the compiler here? Observe carefully. The first one is lexical analysis phase. Second one is syntax analysis phase. Next one is syntax analysis phase. Next one is semantic analysis phase. Next one is intermediate code generation. Intermediate code generation. Next one is code optimization. And the last one is code generation. Right, sir. Nearly 6 number of phases are available. Lexical analysis phase, syntax analysis phase, semantic analysis phase, intermediate code generation, code optimization, then finally code generation. Right, sir. This is compiler. Inside the compiler, these many things are available. Anyway, no need to understand each and every one, not required even. Just up to the required part only we are going to understand, but I'm going to prepare this diagram repeatedly. Even in the future also, I'm going to prepare this diagram. Okay, in the future also, I'm going to prepare this diagram. Try to recognize this, what I'm telling to you. Right, sir. Now, points are very much clear. Now try to understand it clearly. First, here what we have taken guys. Now observe carefully what exactly the things here we have taken there. Compilation. Next .exe files here we are getting. Next one is what their output. Next one is what their compilation is nothing but what their here we are getting like what their preprocessor compiler. Next one is what their assembler. Next one is compiler. If you observe this, what we are able to get there lexical analysis phase, semantic syntax analysis phase, semantic analysis phase, intermediate code generation, code optimization. These many things are available or not? Guys, observe carefully. These many things are exist or not? All right, sir. Now here observe carefully what I'm telling to you. So this is overall the diagram here now. Now, what is my required information here? Observe carefully. Here, my required information is what there. What exactly the preprocessor? Where is the location of the preprocessor I need? This is my required punch. Where is the location of the preprocessor? I require this punch. That we understood. Preprocessor location is what there in a compilation, the very first phase. In a compilation, the very first phase is what there preprocessor. That's the point here. Preprocessor is what there the first phase inside the compilation. Yes, sir, got it or not? Right, guys. Now this I want to say this is my C program related structure. That everything I provided with what there C program related structure. Let's understand this point clearly. What I'm telling you know, preprocessor is the first phase in a compilation. Preprocessor is the first phase in what their compilation. Good. What is the job of the preprocessor? What is the job of the preprocessor? If you observe this, where I'm giving some clarity, now try to understand it clearly. This is the first point here I'm telling there. Listen carefully. In C and C++ applications, listen carefully. The complete, the complete, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of the complete predefined library was provided in the form of header files. Am I right or not? Please read out the point here. In C and C++, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of what their header files. Clear to all of you guys? Okay, fine. In C and C++ applications, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of what their header files. Can you tell me examples for these header files? No. stdio.h, conio.h, conio.h. What next one here? math.h. Am I right or not? All these are header files or not? Okay, good, nice. Listen careful. Next point here. If I want to use this predefined library in my C and C++ programs, I have to include these header files to my C program or not? We have to include the header files to the C program or not? So the point is, if you want to use predefined library in C and C++ applications, if you want to use predefined library in C and C++ applications, then we have to include header files into C and C++ applications. For this, we have to use hash include statements. What statements here we have to use, guys? Now tell me. Hash include statements. Example I'm telling to you. Hash include stdio.h. Hash include stdio.h. Next one is hash include conio.h. Next one is hash include math.h. Like this. We are having like what there, all these header files clearly. That means hash include statements. Yes, all of you are getting clarity. Now the remaining next points are very, very important. Try to understand it now. Next is some internal flow I'm telling them. For example, I prepared a C program. I prepared what the C program. I compiled a C program. Then what will happen? Listen, all of you carefully understand it now. 3 to 4 points. When I compile C program, preprocessor is the first phase in compilation. Then immediately preprocessor will be activated. When we compile the program, preprocessor will be activated. What preprocessor will do? Preprocessor will recognize all these hash include statements. Preprocessor will recognize all these hash include statements. Preprocessor will take all the specified header files names. Preprocessor will take all the specified header files names. Preprocessor will go inside the C software. Already you installed it in our system. C software. Inside the C software, preprocessor will check whether these header files are available or not available. Get my point or not? Inside this C software, preprocessor will check whether these header files are existed or not existed. If these header files are not existed, error will come. If these header files are available in C and C++, that means inside the C software, preprocessor will not give any error. At the same time, preprocessor will load all these header files content to the memory. Preprocessor will load all these header files content to the memory. Sir, all of you get my point or not? Preprocessor will load all these header files content to the memory. This entire thing is going on at compilation time or not? This entire thing is going on at what time? Compilation time. So loading predefined library, that is header files content to the memory at a compilation time. Loading predefined library to the memory at a compilation time is called as static loading. That is called as what there? Static loading. Yes, clear to all of you? Loading predefined library to the memory is called as what there? Static loading. Understand it clearly. All right, sir. That point here I'm telling to you. Now try to understand it now. These points are important here. When we compile C program, C and C++ applications, preprocessor preprocessor will perform the following activities, following actions. What are the various actions which are performed by preprocessor? Observe carefully. Right, sir. I'm going to give list out all of them here. First one. What is that first one here? Now tell me, what is the first one here? No, preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements. Preprocessor will recognize all the hash include statements, and the preprocessor will take the provided header files names. Provided what their header files names. This is point number one. Yes, sir, got my point or not? First one. Then what next one here? Preprocessor. Next one. Preprocessor will check what preprocessor will do there. Preprocessor will check whether the specified header files are existed or not existed in C software. Yes, sir, got my point or not? Preprocessor will check whether these specified header files are exist or not existed in a C software. Exist or not existed, not exist in C software. Got my point or not? Okay. Here the point is what there. Okay. Here the point is what there. After completion of this, no. If the specified header files are not existed in C software, not exist in C software, then what we are able to get now? Then if the specified header files are not exist in C software, then preprocessor will raise an error. Library is not exist like this. We are able to get some error. For example, if the specified header files are existed in C software, if they exist in C software, then what will happen there? What next one here? Then preprocessor will load all the header files content to the memory. All the header files content to the memory. This is the action here what we are getting clearly. All right, sir. If the specified header files do not exist in a C software, then preprocessor will raise an error. If the specified header files are existed in C software, then preprocessor will load all the header files content to the memory. Understand, guys, what I'm telling you clearly. Right, sir. Now here itself I'm giving one conclusion there. Right, sir. Here itself I'm giving conclusion there. One conclusion here. Note, one small note here I'm telling there. What is that note here? Loading predefined library at compilation time. Loading predefined library at compilation time is called as static loading. Loading predefined library at compilation time is called as what there? Static loading. Loading predefined library at compilation time is called static loading. Understand it clearly. Now indirectly what I'm telling there, preprocessor is performing static loading or not? Preprocessor is performing what there? Static loading here. Understand it, no? Now here we are getting our required information here. All of you observe carefully. What is our required information here? Directly I'm telling to you. Now here, my required information now is what there? Right, sir. In C and C++, preprocessor is required. Why preprocessor is required now? In C and C++, preprocessor is required to recognize all hash include statements in order to load header files to the memory. To recognize hash include statements and to load header files content to the memory. Because of this reason, we require what there? Preprocessor. The point what I'm telling there up to now, where is preprocessor? What is the job of the preprocessor? What is the need of the preprocessor in a C and a C++? Answer clear or not? Now 3 points here I included. What are the 3 points here I included, guys? Now tell me. The 3 points are like what there? What is the location of the preprocessor? Location of the preprocessor is what there in the compilation first phase. The location of the preprocessor is what there? Compilation first phase. Understand it clearly. What is its job here now? Recognizing all header files, loading all header files to the memory. That's the job of this one here. So what is the requirement of the preprocessor in C and C++? No, to recognize hash include statements in order to load header files content to the memory. For that particular reason only, this total preprocessor is required. Let's see this diagram here. I've included this diagram for the sake of you. That's okay, fine now. This is completed, guys. After completion of this, what next one here I'm telling there? Java. Now related to Java. Preprocessor is not required in Java. Why preprocessor is not required in Java? That point is also be here. We have to understand. First of all, let me prepare this diagram, guys. Let me prepare this. I want to make it is a Java. I want to make it is Java. What changes here we require there? Now tell me. If you want to make it is Java, what changes here we require? Now tell me. In place of .c, what I have to provide there? .java file. In place of .exe file in Java, no concept like .exe files. I had only two files. .java. Next one is what there? .class. Right, sir. In the case of Java, what I'm telling there, no concept like what there? Preprocessor. This is not going to be existed. This is not available inside the Java. Only three components: compiler, assembler, loader, link editor. And the remaining things are very much the same. Now try to understand it. What remaining things are very much the same here. We can understand this clearly. Now here, observe carefully. Here what we are having there now, observe now. Now here. This is about like what there? Java related thing. As it is, the remaining points are very same. Right, sir. Now observe carefully what I am telling to you. I want to give this Java diagram here later on. But before that, why it is not required in Java? Why preprocessor is not required in Java? That points here we have to understand. Right, sir. Now let us understand this. Some few points are available here. Let's understand this clearly. Listen carefully. In Java, the complete library was provided in the form of classes and interfaces in packages. The complete library was provided in the form of what their classes and interfaces in what their packages. Examples I'm telling to you, try to understand this clearly. Right, sir. Java.io, one package. Java.util, another package. Another package. Next one is what there? Java.sql, another package. All these are what their packages. So many examples are available, but some of the examples are given. Okay, good, nice. Understand this point here. In C and C++, to use predefined library, we must include header files or not? In C and C++, to use predefined library, we must include header files or not? Similarly, in Java applications, to use predefined library, we have to include packages. We have to include packages in Java applications. Okay, to include packages in Java applications. Observe carefully. To include packages in Java applications, we have to use what statement here? No, import statement. What is the statement here? We have to use there import statement, guys. To include packages in Java applications, what statement here we have to use there? Import statement here we have to use. Am I right or not? Right. So let's observe carefully. Example, I'm telling to you how to use these import statements here. Example, try to understand this example here. Now, import java.io.store, import java.util.store, import java.sql.store. Guys, understand my point here? In Java, package is a collection of classes and interfaces. In Java, what is package actually? Collection of classes and interfaces. Get my point or not? In Java, package is what their collection of classes and interfaces. Okay, fine. In Java.io, so many classes and interfaces are available. I want to use all of them. That's why I given star. Here star is representing what there all classes and interfaces from Java.io package. Again here what is the meaning of this star? No, all classes and interfaces I want to get from what there? I want to get from what there? Java.util package. No. Right, sir. Then what next one here? What is the purpose of this java.sql.star here? I want to get all classes and interfaces from what there? Java.sql package. Yes, sir. All of you get my point or not? Right, sir. Next one is after that here what I am telling to you. That's okay. This point is okay, clear. We are getting it now. I want to get all of them to the present Java file. I've used it, that star notation clearly. Now all of you understand this clearly what I'm telling here. I prepared a Java program. Listen, a few minutes. Content is almost all, we are going to wind up it. I prepared a Java program. In Java program, I have written some import statements like this. Okay, I compiled my Java program. When I compile this Java program, compiler will recognize import statements. In C and C++, preprocessor has recognized hash include statement. But in Java, compiler has recognized what their import statements. Yes, sir. Am I right or not? Compiler has recognized what their import statements. Compiler has taken all the package names, what we specified. Compiler will go to Java software, where compiler will check whether all the specified packages are existed or not existed. Compiler will check all the packages are existed or not existed. Packages are existed or not existed. If these packages are not existed in Java software, compiler will raise an error. Package does not exist. If these packages are existed in the Java software, compiler will not raise any error. At the same time, compiler will not load any package content to the memory. In C and C++, preprocessor is able to load header files content to the memory at compilation time. But in Java, at compilation time, compiler will not load any package content to the memory. But in Java, if compiler is not loading any package to the memory, then who will load that package content to the memory? Who will load that package content to the memory if compiler is not doing that? At a runtime, when we execute our program, JVM, what is that JVM? No, Java Virtual Machine is an executor of the Java programs. JVM, when it is required, up to the required classes and interfaces will be loaded to the memory from the packages. No? That library would be loaded by JVM at a runtime. Loading predefined library at a runtime. Loading predefined library at runtime in Java is called as what there? Dynamic loading. Loading predefined library at runtime is called as what there? Dynamic loading. Yes, sir. All of you are following my points or not? Let's see. Then whenever I'm typing the content, observe carefully. Try to read the statements now. It's the repetition for you. Easily we can remember that points if we see that content here now. So now the point what I'm telling there, observe carefully. In Java, the complete predefined library was provided in the form of classes and interfaces in what their packages. Right, sir. That's okay. Already I given that point here. Now observe carefully. The next point is what I'm telling to you. Understand it now. If we compile Java application, then compiler will perform the following actions. What actions the compiler is able to perform there? Observe carefully. Right, sir. Right, sir. Point number one, I'm telling you, try to recognize this. Compiler will recognize all the import statements. Compiler will recognize all the import statements, and compiler will take the provided, will take the provided packages. Compiler will take the provided packages. This is point number one. Tell me what next one, you know? Compiler will check the provided packages in what there? Java software. Right. What's the third point here? If the specified packages are not existed in a Java software, then what compiler will do there? Compiler will rise an error. If the specified packages are not existed in Java software, then a compiler will rise an error. If the specified like packages are existed in Java software, then compiler will not rise any error. Compiler will not rise any error. And at the same time, compiler will not load any predefined library. Compiler will not load any predefined library to the memory. Okay, right, sir. Then what next point here? No, next point is very clear. What is that next point here? No, in Java, observe carefully. In Java, at a runtime, runtime in the sense at the time of executing our program, JVM will load the required classes and interfaces in Java at a runtime. JVM will load the required classes and interfaces as per the requirement. This type of loading predefined library at a runtime is called as what there is called as dynamic loading. This is exactly called as what there? Dynamic loading. Got my point or not? Right, sir. Now see this, what exactly the points here I'm telling to you. If you compile Java applications, then compiler will perform the following actions. Compiler will recognize all import statements and compiler will take the provided packages. Compiler will check the provided packages in Java software. If the specified packages do not exist in Java software, then compiler will raise an error. Okay, if the specified package exists in Java software, then the compiler will not raise any error, and at the same time, compiler will load predefined library. Compiler will not load or do not load predefined library to the memory. Compiler will load. 1 minute, guys. Compiler will not load predefined library to the memory. Observe carefully. Right, sir. Points are clear or not? If the specified package exists in Java software, then compiler will not raise any error. At the same time, compiler will not load predefined library to the memory. Okay, in Java at runtime, JVM will load the required classes and interfaces as per the requirement. Compiler, that means JVM will load the required classes and interfaces to the memory as per the requirement. This type of loading predefined library at runtime is called dynamic loading. Right, now here we have to understand the requirement why preprocessor is not required in the case of Java. We understood what compiler and JVM is doing in Java, but why preprocessor is not required in the case of Java. I'm giving conclusions to you. Try to understand it, guys. All of you know. In Java, preprocessor is not required. Why? Because hash include statements are not available in Java. What statements are not available in Java? Hash include statements are not available in Java. Got my point or not? Why hash include statements are not available in Java? Header files are not available in Java. Why header files are not available in Java? Predefined library is available in the form of classes and interfaces in packages. Due to that reason, header files are not available. Due to this reason, hash include statements are not available. Due to this reason, preprocessor is not required in Java. Understand point clearly now. So in Java, preprocessor is not required. Preprocessor is not required. Not required. Why? Because in Java, hash include statements and header files existed in Java. Hash include statements and header files are not existed. That is the reason why that point is sufficient here now. Okay, that is the reason why preprocessor preprocessor is not required in the case of Java. Then Java related diagram here are given there. We can understand it now. If it is Java, this is what exactly the content here we can understand. Yes, sir. All of you are getting clarity or not? That's okay, fine. This is one point, guys. I'm giving clarity to you. Next, after completion of this, here we have one important interview question. Here we have what there? One important interview question. Everybody must understand this question here. What exactly this question here I'm asking there? What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? This is a question. Every interviewer will ask this question there. Especially at a fresher level, definitely you are able to get this question. Here we have to answer for this question now. Yes, sir. What are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Then here we have to give answers here. Yes, all of you ready for it now? Already he knows the total content here. Now tell me what exactly the differences here. Now tell me. First one is what there? What where these two are existed here now. First understand it. Hash include statements exist in C and C++, whereas import statements exist in Java. This is point number one. Point number two, what they are doing now, what actually they are including. Hash include statements. Hash include statements includes the predefined library existed in the form of header files. Header files are loaded. Header files, the predefined library which are existed, header files which are existed in header files, that library is loaded in our C program kernel. But now, what about the Java? Import statements include the predefined library existed in the form of what there? Classes and interfaces in packages. Class and interface in what there? Packages can. Okay, that's enough. This is the second point here we have to understand clearly. Next one is point number 3. Which one is recognized by preprocessor, which one is recognized by compiler and JVM? No. Hash include statements are recognized by whom? Preprocessor. But now tell me, import statements are recognized by both compiler and JVM. In Java, both compiler and JVM. Guys, observe carefully. Then third point. Fourth one here, observe carefully. Listen carefully. Fourth one I'm telling you, observe carefully. So which one is supporting static loading and which one is supporting dynamic loading? Hash include and import statements I'm talking there. Hash include statement is supporting what there? Static loading. Hash include statements are supporting what there? Static loading. Am I right or not? Right, sir. Hash include statements supports static loading, whereas import statements supports dynamic loading. Am I right or not? Okay, fine. Next one is after completion of this, then what next one here? Observe carefully. Next point here. Now I'm asking one more question. Now try to answer for it. Is it possible to include more than one header file by using single hash include statement? Okay, what I'm expecting there. Now try to understand it. No, is it possible to write like this? Hash include stdio.h comma conio.h comma math.h. Is it possible? Possible? No. No. One header file, one hash include statement. So multiple files are required or not? So here the point here, what I'm telling to you, observe carefully. Observe carefully. To include multiple header files, we must use multiple hash include statements. Multiple hash include statements. Am I right or not? So example I'm telling to you, observe carefully. This is what I'm telling there, invalid. This is not possible. This is invalid. Another example I'm telling to you, observe carefully. Hash include yesterday.h. Okay, then what next one here? Hash include conio.h. Then after that, hash include math.h. These are what there. These are actual contents here. These are the valid cases now. Get my point or not? Status is what there valid. Okay, fine. Now this is about like what there C and C++. Similar point about Java is what there to include more than one class or more than one interface of the same package. We have to use of the same package to include more than one class or more than one interface of the same package. We are able to use a single import statement. We are able to use what is single import statement. Guys, observe carefully what I'm telling to you. If you want to include more than one class or interface of the same package, it is sufficient to use single. All right, it is. We are able to use a single import statement. That is example is like what there. What is that example I'm telling to you? Import java.io.star we provided here. That means the star is representing what there? All classes and interfaces from java.io. That means one import statement is sufficient to use hundreds of classes and hundreds of interfaces from java.io package. So if you're getting it or not, that's it, guys. Now this is what exactly the differences. What exactly the differences between like hash include statement and import statement. Now, tell me, guys, what are the differences between hash include statement and import statement? Now, what we understand there? Hash include statements exist in C and C++, but import statements exist in what there? Java. Hash include statements include the predefined library existed in the form of header files. Import statements include the predefined library existing in the form of classes and interface in packages. Hash include statements are recognized by preprocessor. Import statements are recognized by both compiler and JVM. Hash include statement supports static loading. Import statements support what there? Dynamic loading. To include multiple header files, we must use multiple hash include statements like this. Okay, but to include more than one class or more than one interface of the same package, we are able to use single import statement. Example I've given there. That's it, guys. Now these are clearly like what there. Then the difference when two differences here we understood clearly. Then tomorrow I'm going to talk about one more difference, very important difference. What is the difference here? C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages. But Java is a platform independent programming language. Why? This is the point here we have to understand clearly. C and C++ are platform dependent programming languages, but Java is what there? Platform independent programming language. This difference we have to understand is very important. Without failure, try to attend for the class there clearly. Right, sir? That's all, guys. That's all for today. Then we'll see the remaining part and tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll see the content. Thank you. Thanks a lot.